8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you. We're thankful that you're here with us right here on CKLU 96.7 FM on terrestrial radio, streaming on internet radio at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app or download it, and you can listen to us, take us with you anytime, listen to us anywhere, along with other really great programming from CKLU. And while you're at CKLU, make sure to hit the donate button. We rely on yourself to keep the lights on, the airways open. And we're grateful for your financial contributions. And if there's other ways that you can contribute to CKLU, we invite you to contact the GM, Rob, at gm@cklu.ca, and let them know that you're interested in volunteering, whether it's to do a show or it's to help behind the scenes doing something on the technical side of things. We really appreciate everybody, and it's a volunteer-run organization and community supported radio station. We got a great show planned for you today. Not only are we live on the internet, we're live on internet radio. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel on the page. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen. Today we're going to have Tom Price and Bob Johnson joining us. Not sure how many comments we'll be able to get read. Probably very few, but if they can pay attention to the comments coming up on the screen, and if there's anything that if you have questions for them that they can answer in real time, we'll leave that up to them. I'll also try to keep an eye out on some of the comments and questions to pose them to them. Tom Price just released a newsletter, which we'll go over this morning. Taxes were just announced to go up in the city. We'll talk about that. And the plan for downtown has been unveiled by the new CAO of the city. And we'll talk about that plan and see if it's going to be effective or not. At least we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the potential of the effectiveness or lack thereof. So buckle up. It's going to be a great show. And we'll just kick it off with a little bit of weather, and then when we come back, we'll have Bob Johnson and Tom Price joining us. Sudbury Weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently, it's 4 degrees out there. It is mostly cloudy. Today, it will be mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers in the morning, periods of rain beginning near noon, fog patches dissipating early in the morning. The wind is its usual 20 kilometers per hour, high of 8 today. Tonight, UV index is 2 or low, but tonight, periods of rain ending after midnight, then cloudy with a 40% chance of showers and the low of +4. Wednesday, tomorrow, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Fog patches dissipating by morning, high of 9, UV index 2 or low, and then overnight, tomorrow night, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers or flurries, low of +2 overnight. So yeah, the F word is coming into effect here. And then Thursday, chance of rain, showers, or flurries, as we said earlier. The high will be 5 only on Thursday, 40% chance of rain or showers or flurries. Friday, you got your 7 degrees is your high, 30% chance of rain showers or flurries. I can't believe it. It's already starting, possibly on October the 23rd. Saturday, looks like there's a mix of sun and cloud in the forecasts. High of 7 as well. High of 10 on Sunday, mix of sun and cloud. Mix of sun and cloud as well on Monday with a high of 11. That's your Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with Tom Price, Bob Johnson. Your comments and more when we come back right after this. Okay, here we are. We know your mic is working because when I had you guys come on this morning, I could hear you guys chatting a bit. So good morning. It looks like we got Bob here first. Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing not bad. I'm just going to put my headphones on so I can hear you a little clearer. We'll be all good. Good stuff. Yeah, so I saw you were on a podcast recently. I saw you sharing that. And how was that experience?
It was pretty good.
And whose
Once you
podcast?
tell the truth, it's easy to flow.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, when you tell the truth, it's easy to flow.
Oh, that is true. That is true. And whose podcast was it? And what was the theme, or what were you discussing on it?
It was Sudbury Raising, or something. It was Canada Raising. It's a new outfit. And we talked about a little bit about the homeless and so on. We touched a little bit all over the map. And it was a great success for the first one. But of course, technical difficulties, which we all know.
It happens. They can happen.
Yeah.
Happened to me once.
Great.
So what have you been up to lately, and what is the situation on the street, so to speak?
Well, they got really wet in the last couple of days, but it kills me the way everything's got to be hidden in the city and the doors got to be closed. For example, now the Samaritan Center and the fire station, like I said all along, a year and a half ago, is gone. Well, yeah, it's going to be gone. And now our great mayor and so on is looking at buying the paint store, flooring store on Lawrence Street, right behind the Chris's Independent. And that's where the Mission and the soup kitchen are supposed to go.
Interesting.
Pardon me?
That's interesting.
It is. And what's more interesting to me is, do you realize that in Canada, every city has encampments? But Sudbury is the only one who has a beer store and weed shop on their property line. And we worry about our addictions and mental health and homelessness. Give me a break. I said it for years that they have no clue when it comes to addictions, mental health, and homelessness. And this just proves it. So now we have all this money spent and all these plans and everything else. So what's next? Are you going to leave the beer store and the weed store there? I just can't understand.
Now, I don't know how much longer the beer store is going to be operating in Ontario, so maybe that's a plus. Now that we have it in convenience stores and grocery stores. But anyways, still, at the moment, it is there. And I never could understand why we used the core of downtown, like to say the very heart. If you were to take a bullseye, like a dartboard, and the bullseye part of the dartboard would have been where the Tim Hortons and liquor store were made, right downtown beside the bus station. And for the life of me, I could never understand why that decision was made to put those two outfits there. First of all, for traffic for Tim Hortons, it's a nightmare with all the lineups and whatever people going through the drive-through right in the core of the city for traffic flow. And then the liquor store right there in the dead center of the city. It's almost like every city, you go to Toronto, the CN Tower is there, like right in the middle of the city to kind of, this is the center of the city. This is where we want everything to be around. So you get the Rogers Center there. You got, the hockey arena. Everything is right by it. Here we put a liquor store right dead center in the city. So it was like, what are we saying? And a Tim Hortons, by the way, but
Exactly.
don't
And
understand.
that's welcoming. Is that welcoming? No. You
Well,
know,
for certain people, I guess, if you want to grab a bottle of something, it's. But what is that saying? What is that doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the reason for that?
well, exactly.
Don't understand.
And now you're going to stop at the weed store or the beer store, and you're going to see all these friggin' tents behind with people, sitting in the rain and everything else. I don't know how. Another pet peeve I have is like, how are they thinking? Really, we have this sunshine list where they all make a 225 to 250 a year. Meanwhile, every department they run is in crisis. And we really got to start straightening out and stepping up to the plate for ourselves. It's crazy. Now they just hired another community service manager from Halifax. For what? I don't know. And like this arena, you know what I mean? Like they said, 200 million. Well, they already spent 50, and they just keep buying and buying and buying. When's it going to come to an end?
So we're gonna have to add now to the expenses the buying of this paint store and flooring store on Lorne, right? Because the reason why they're buying it is because they need the room for the new arena, or they don't want the Samaritan Center to kind of be attached to the new arena, because that's kind of like the way it would be if you look at it, the footprint. It would be right at the one end of the arena, the Samaritan Center, where it's currently located, and Soup Kitchen. And I don't think they want that to be part of the new arena. So they're looking at, and I guess if they're making Energy Court the place that they want to kind of set aside for people experiencing homelessness and addiction and whatever, it would make sense to have those services close by. Not sure though with the idea on Lawrence Street. It's just an interesting decision. And like you said, it's right beside a beer store and a weed store, which I don't know how that helps people with experiencing addiction at all. I don't think it does. So it's just interesting, right? It's just like the city's planning has always made me scratch my head.
Yeah, exactly. More stupidity than interesting.
We've never really even discussed the whole Science North Dynamic Earth idea either. That's always been a perplexing thing to me. It's just a huge money pit, both of those edifices and organizations. And if you talk about Sunshine List, you have a lot of people in those organizations on the Sunshine List, and it loses money every year. It's just a money pit. And
exactly.
And I'm sure it could be profitable if it had the right kind of planning behind the two places, possibly, if they were looked at these destinations for tourism and this, that, and the other. But it just looks like they sit back on their laurels and they're making lots of money, and there's no real incentive to make money because they just get these handouts all the time from taxpayers' money, whether it's provincial or municipal. And so they just hired a new community service manager. Is that what just took place?
That is exactly right.
And what did we have in the meantime? Like, wasn't a position that was already there that was vacated? Did they create a brand new position, or what was up with that?
Well, the whole Sudbury Tom Davies Square has to be cleaned out. It's like an onion, layers and layers and layers of management and employees, and it makes no sense.
No,
we paid the whole stuff for employees. Like, what are we doing?
We should do an experiment. Just have like 5 people run the city for a year and see how they can do it. And it's probably
better.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, that's my cynical side coming out too. I do have a cynical side as well. So they're going to be, is this like a tent city type of thing? Going to be a designated tent city area, Energy Court? if they're going to add Samaritan Center, the soup
Yep.
kitchen over there,
Yep.
the tent city kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's all hush hush, so don't say it too loud.
Oh, I think we already did.
The taxpayers has no right to know that they're going to spend a couple more $1 million foolishly.
Because these businesses aren't just going to sell like at bargain basement prices, right? They're the paint store and the flooring store, whoever owns that
Exactly.
building.
Plus, you're going to have to move and ship over the renovations, the equipment for the mission and the Blue Door Soup Kitchen, and then they still got to decide where they're putting our fire station. It's an ongoing battle. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Who won this lottery?
But it's a good thing that we got an endless supply of money, right? If we didn't, then there'd be a problem.
Well, so what? We're going to shake that money tree there next year, and that $1.1 billion in debt is going to fall free?
Well, the taxes just went up, which is good, right? So now they can collect more taxes from us. So maybe that can go towards that. And then taxes can always go up even more, right? So they can just increase taxes if they need more money.
Which they will be doing next year. Mark my word.
I think they already approved it. Taxes going
Yep.
up. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's money isn't an issue here, right? According to those that can collect the money from people who live here. So
But why would you block out your bread and butter? You know what I mean? The people of this city has no say, no nothing. It's all hush hush. They go sneaking behind everybody's back, and it's crazy. And I would like to ask a favor of everybody who's out listening today, and your friends, to get a hold of your council either by phone or by email, and ask them the one question: how much is that arena really going to cost us? Two things. Number one, they're going to call back going, or they're going to call back, or they won't call back and they're going to ignore you. It's one of the two. But I'd really like to get the public involved in this, and we all work together and stand up for ourselves for change, instead of just, you know what, letting them run over us.
well, as we can see, it's already in motion. Land has already been purchased. Buildings have already been demolished. Things are already being, infrastructure is already being put in. And so the longer it goes, and then then if we say, okay, whoa, enough's enough, let's stop. You have a decimated downtown with all these buildings demolished. And, so it's an interesting thing. Sudbury's an interesting place. I've always said Sudbury's not like any other city, anywhere, anytime. Whatever happens here doesn't mean if it works here, doesn't mean it works in another city, because Sudbury's so different.
City.
What's that?
I said you wouldn't want it to work in another city.
It's just,
You know what? Like I said, I'm not trying to bully or think that I'm negative all the time. But I am very, very concerned about the taxpayers, their children, and their children in the greater city of Sudbury with a debt load what we can never dig out of. That's where I'm worried about.
well, the whole thing is you can always move if it becomes too costly to live here, right? So you could always go to another city somewhere else where taxes are lower and roads are smoother and things are run a little bit more like cities should be run, right? So we don't have to live here, I guess, right?
Well, a lot of us look for pothole fishing too, though, in the spring. And on that note, before I get too much of it in a rant, I'm going to pass it over to Tom.
Sounds good. We got about
Thank you,
15,
my friend.
not a problem. Thank you, Bob. We got about 15 minutes, Tom. I was just reading over your newsletter you just put out here, and you have quite a bit of information on the city. And I see here Science North and Dynamic Earth, Place des Arts. They're all mentioned in your newsletter, and you go through the plan for downtown. And you also address, the business situation, the homelessness, mental illness, addictions, crime, and you really set things out here. So I would encourage anyone who hasn't read your newsletter or isn't a subscriber. how could they subscribe to your newsletter?
Bob usually posts the newsletter on his Facebook,
Okay.
so they can go to Bob's Facebook. Or if the nothing else, if the Star decides not to post it, which I've forgiven them in my email to them for not posting it because it is kind of long.
Yeah.
And I've also thanked them for the article that, shall we say, inspired it. You know, and I guess maybe before I go there, just a comment about Bob's situation with the Samaritan Center and that. You guys fail to recognize that if we move the homeless and the drug addiction over to that location, they can be the Walmart greeters for the new Wacky Wings and establishment. They're right there, and they can greet all the people coming to Wacky Wings. Okay, I had to say that. It's been bugging me.
Well, no,
The other thing-
and Tom, that actually crossed my mind too. They're moving Wacky Wings from downtown to over to Lawrence Street, and now if they're moving all of the, the homeless population, people struggling and whatever, and they're trying to give them the service. They're moving it right next door to the new Wacky Wings. So I guess it would originally was near Wacky Wings to begin with, anyways. So I guess they're just moving everything to get maybe Wacky Wings as part of the package.
Yeah, it might be. The second thing, guys talked a bit about taxes going up. Well, I see in the paper that the police board is looking for somewhere between 11 and 14% increase in their budget. And all of this spending, if those people who did get our news releases in 2018 will remember, we predicted a financial tsunami in this city. It's here, folks. You just look at the spending that the city's been doing. You look at the taxes going up to finance the public employees. The financial tsunami is here. And what's happening to the other people? Well, their riches are going down because with the taxes going up, they'll have less disposable income for their lives. Get ready for the undertow.
But I think maybe we put too much emphasis on money, and by taking a little bit more away from Sudburyans, we'll just be a little more grateful for the little bit that we have. Maybe they want us to live a minimalistic lifestyle, which is, I heard, a little bit less stress. So they're just helping us on our way.
Well, one of the things I've been advocating for a number of years, since 1970, in fact, is forget about your property taxes. Look at how much the city is spending, because you're going to be paying for all of that. And just because they can hide the cost in other taxes doesn't mean you're not going to be paying. Every penny they spend will come back to the consumer and to the property taxpayers. So the tsunami is upon us. When you go out and you buy some goods, where a few years ago, and Jim Gordon was very famous for this, he moved some of the taxes onto the businesses away from the households. Wow, he was a hero for a while. Was he? When you move those taxes to the businesses have to add that tax to the cost of their goods to the household, plus they add a markup. So you're paying a double tax on it when they move it to the industry or businesses.
That's what they're doing with the carbon tax right now. They took it away just before the election, so that way Carney could be elected. So he's like, oh look, he took the carbon tax away, but they just put it on businesses. So that's what the opposition was saying. Now look, it's going to be even more because all these businesses are going to put that in the cost, in the price. You're going to pay for your goods and services that they provide because they're the ones who have that as an extra cost. So he's just moving it over. So that's happening on a federal level at the moment. So,
well, plus they will be adding a markup onto that as well for their profit margin.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, so aside from that, getting back to, you wanted to talk about things on the news release. When I read the article in the Sudbury Star, I thought, my goodness, if this lady believes what she's saying, somebody's been misleading her to a tremendous degree. Anybody who would claim that the downtown Sudbury has been the economic engine of this city is out to lunch.
Well, it was in 1963.
I'm sorry, it's never been.
Oh, okay. It's never been. That's right. Oh, anyways, I want to just. It was at least more than it is now, but that's what I just want to preface that we're talking about the new CAO of our city at the moment. Like that's the one behind this plan. So the downtown's never been the economic engine of the city.
Absolutely not. You name me one thing that was an economic driver that came out of city council in Sudbury. Just one thing. That's all I'm looking for. It's just one. You can't do it because it didn't exist. Everything has been either at the incentive of the private industry or community groups like the public, the arenas in the city, 14 of them, the libraries, 14 of them. Those all came from public contributions, donations, and that, not from City Hall. City Hall simply ran a very poor job of maintaining roads, a very poor job of maintaining water and sewer, a very poor job of almost every aspect they touch.
Can you back up your claims that we've done a terrible job of maintaining roads? Can you back this sounds like fake. This sounds like fake news to me. Do you have any evidence that we can't maintain roads in Sudbury?
Well, it's difficult, but now that you've challenged me, I'll have to go out and take some photos and do some boreholes into the Oh, God, that would create more potholes if I take more boreholes. But keep in mind, the city on the new paving on the Kingsway, they took 100 core samples on one lane of paving. Well, there's 100 future potholes because they didn't backfill them properly after they took the core out. They just took cold pack and stamped it into it. Now, water will permeate down through that cold pack, and guess what? Now you got a pothole. So me drilling a few more holes won't bother anything. So I'll see what I can set up to get some more core samples and 90%, well, maybe not 90, probably about 70% of the paved roads in Sudbury did not get built with a base layer of asphalt.
Now we're on the subject. Explain the proper way that you make a road, because I was talking to an engineer in Espanola just recently because they're redoing their main road. And he said, this is the way it's done, the way they're doing it here. And I said, what about Sudbury? He laughed right away. And so if you wouldn't mind, explain for the audience the correct way to pave a road, do it properly, and then what Sudbury does.
Well, paving the road starts with the base. You got to have good drainage on the road, under the road. Okay? So in the Sudbury area, frost goes down 5 to 7 feet, but you don't have to go the full 7 feet. You need 5 feet of material underneath the road that will drain to get rid of the water. Okay? Then you build that up with drainable material. Coarse material, not fine gravel. They rebuilt Lawrence Street, and I saw them putting in granular A material 3 feet down. That's nonsense. That doesn't drain worth a darn. Okay? Coarse material drains. Fine material holds up more water. So you don't do that. That gets up to where you've got your granular A underneath the asphalt to support the asphalt. Typically, on most roads, you'll have 3 to 4 inches of asphalt. Then you put on your topping. Okay? Now, you got rid of the water, you got good drainage under the road, you got good support for your asphalt, you've got a good road. That isn't what has been done in most of the roads here. Half of the roads in the Sudbury, greater Sudbury, are built based on putting down a layer of tar and spreading pea gravel on top of it, letting it compact by the traffic. A few years later, 2-3 years later, you put down another layer of tar and you put down some more pea gravel. And they build up an asphalt layer that way. They've been doing that for years. Well, what's underneath that? Nothing, you're clay base. And it's saturated with water. Clay will normally not self-de-water. It will hold up water. So having clay under there does not allow you to get rid of your water. Coarse, have you ever seen a water pond around coarse big stones? No, of course not. It runs off them. Even if you pile them all together, it'll run down through them and go. But if you got clay there, clay is ultra fine material. It remains saturated. You got to get rid of that. We're not reconstructing any of these roads. They started on Panache Road, MR10. They did 1 kilometer. It took 3 years. 3 years to do a kilometer of reconstruction on a road. Now, that road in its entirety is 14 kilometers. So 3 times 14 is 52 years to do the entire road, to get the entire road brought up to where it should be. Yeah, we got left with a horrible system of road construction, but we've done nothing to improve it.
But we didn't have the knowledge, maybe. Maybe they just didn't know that's the way that you should construct a road properly, right? They were just doing the best they could.
No, 50 years ago, I did work for the transportation manager of Inco, Ken Johnson. He said there's only 3 rules to building a road. Okay? First rule is get rid of the water. Second rule is get rid of the water. Third rule is get rid of the water. He had the responsibility of most of the mine haul roads at Inco. Do you see any of them having frost boils? No. Do you see any of them deteriorating? No. And they're hauling 150 to 250 ton loads across them.
See, and that's the thing that we've been handed over the years, is that we have frost and so cold weather, and we have the big trucks driving on our roads more than other cities, I guess, because of the mining industry. And that's the reason why we have such bad roads. But that puts that to shame, because they have all the big trucks. That's all they have driving on those mining roads, and they're still in good condition, according to what you're saying.
We have more heavy trucks on our roads than the 401?
No, we don't.
Oh, I didn't think you were. You don't find potholes on the 401.
No, that would be crazy if there were, going at those speeds. And that's the thing. You build a road right, it's supposed to last, I think 50 years, I think was the number I got. And you're supposed to have a 15-year guarantee from the construction company or more. And if something goes wrong with that road in that time, they're liable to fix it according to the contract they sign when they go into the contract with the city or municipality. So that way they're on the hook to fix it. And so they want to do a good job because they don't want to be coming back at their own expense to fix it. So they got to do a good job in the first place. But we don't do that here for some reason.
Well, I'll leave you with a good image. I know we're running out of time. So people have been telling me, well, look what they're doing this year. They've resurfaced a lot of roads and, oh my God, they're really doing something. Yes, in preparation of next year's election, they're doing something. However, I said, think about it. The skins that they're putting on the top of that road is like a plastic surgeon grafting new skin over some flesh-eating virus. Think about it. That's exactly what they're doing. There's no base there for that road.
It's actually a good analogy because the water is eating and eroding underneath, and just like a flesh-eating disease is eating your flesh and whatever. So putting new skin over the flesh-eating disease kind of thing is what we're doing with our roads. And someone can say, look at that pristine skin that person has.
Yeah.
You know?
Pretty,
but it won't take long for the flesh-eating disease to make its way through that new layer of skin. Yeah, they just do the surface. So that's what this engineer told me too. Sudbury just does the top layer, and they continue to just pave the top layer. When they leave the problem stuff below, always a problem. But it makes a lot of money for the construction companies, right? So that helps the economy.
Oh, yeah. And it makes a lot of money for the asphalt companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty soon we're going to end up with asphalt lined ditches. Well, no, we can't, because the ditches are higher than the road. And my road, I kid you not, you come out to my house, I will show you the road I live on, and the bottom of the ditch is a foot higher than the road.
How's that even possible? That's
I can
crazy.
explain how it happened. Yeah. And out on the Spanish River Road, when Ray Bennett was working with me, we went out there and we measured any number of places, and the bottom of the ditch was higher than the road. And that's a city road. Okay? Yeah. So now I understand that the guy that was in charge of most of that is now heading up the project for the event center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, is he going to have the ice at the top of the center with, like, in Ottawa, believe it or not, this is in their article. In Ottawa, they are building a new arena, or going to want to build a new arena where the ice surface will be less than a foot above the water table. Well, what happens when you freeze that ice? Does the cold not pull heat out of the water and freeze it? Like, what's wrong with these people? Where did they learn their engineering?
I don't know. I don't think we can find these questions or the answers to these questions. I think it's, talk about flesh-eating disease. I think in our municipal, federal, provincial governments, it's just layers and layers of flesh-eating stuff. And then they put that skin over, and it's called the media, and it's called, just press conferences where they put this skin over that to make it look nice and smooth. But below, it's all that stuff going on that it's just a money pit. And I don't know what we can do to fix that. I don't know. There'd have to be a whole overhaul. But what we do need in Sudbury, at least, is an audit. We need a third-party audit of our city. If we're going to start with anything financial, we need to see what where the ineffective spending is, the overspending, where we can save money, all these things. It just needs to be done. I've always said that. And hopefully at some point we can have that and then be able to say, okay, let's start doing things correctly at the core. But I don't know if that'll happen. Maybe we'll get a forward-thinking mayor at the next election.
Well, it will take an upswelling of public opinion to make it happen.
For sure.
Because public opinion has to select better council than we've been doing. And that's the bottom line.
Well, thanks for being with us today, Tom. As usual, we don't have enough time to talk about all the things we want to talk about. And I thank you very much, Bob, as well, you guys, for being on. Thanks for all you guys do. Continue to do what you do in the way that you're doing it. We'll do our best to get the word out there as we're doing right now on the show, having you on every couple of weeks. And so thanks again. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again, Bob.
Take care, my friend.
Take care.
And thanks, everyone, for commenting, for listening, for being on today. This is your show. This is your conversation on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM. And on that station, stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM and CKLU.ca. We'll be back same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.